Hello YouTube Nation, welcome back for the second installment of Worth It or Not. I am Wheelbreaker41, Jeremy, coming all the way from you from the good land of trees and Star Wars in the back of you. Again, recording this, and it's thundering and lightning, so if you hear that outside, I'm sorry. I can't control the weather, not storm. Today, we are going to look at I've done this one before. I did it a while back, a long time ago when I did videos more frequently. We're doing a Gobot thing. I love Gobots. God, I've got back into Gobots. I've watched some of the cartoons and they're just cool. We're gonna look today at the command center, the friendly Gobot mobile fortress, which is this. Now, what we're going to do is look at this for if it's worth it or not. For me personally, I got this for $10. Now, it also came with the box, but before all of you all people that know me for flea markets and yard sale stuff simmer down, I mean, that's the box. I mean, it's not... We're not putting that in the Toy Hall of Fame anytime soon, if you will. However, the cool thing about the 80s toys is that they had cool box art, which for this one especially, it had cool box art. If you go look at the old pictures, the one I have looks like it's went through the damn toilet and back and in somebody's butthole and out the other end. But the command center for me, not so much. It's one of the first 80s play sets / play toys there was, because it's play set, but it's also a person, even in the cartoon. I mean, it's their ship. It does something. It's not the Falcon, even though the Falcon has a characteristic of its own in Star Wars. This thing is actually living and breathing according to the toy because of bloop, got a face. Oh well, everything. It's got a face. Now, the command center has, for me, I think it's the first triple changer. Let me see, when was this thing put out? Well, on my shitty box, I can't find what the date was of it, and I don't know it off the top of my head. But I think it was before, like, Blitzwing and Astro Chain and Train and Springer and all them. And people will call me out on it, but I do think it's a triple changer. Because you have spaceship mode, which in the Gobot movies and everything else, that's how it would fly through space like that. Now, for easily done maneuvers here, well, I say easily. Now it's walking, so it's on land, and it tried to be an AT-AT. It's not as cool as an AT-AT. There ain't no damn way, but it still is cool because of scale, which I'm big on scale. And then third, actually, it becomes a base, which you open it up, and there, we'll get into that a little bit more here a little later on. But it does become a base, which is cool. Now, let's take a look at it, because essentially for this toy, it's, if I can get this thing to clip here, oh, get rhythm. Clip, you bastard. Bitch. There we go. This mode and the flying mode, I think, is the same. If you look at it this way, you know, it's got the cool red shield up here. Now, a battery would go in there, and if you push this down, it would make sound effects. I, unfortunately, do not have the type of battery that this thing takes to make that happen to show you. I don't even know if this one works, to be honest with you, but it's cool. It makes it happen. This thing, the command center, it turns into a vehicle, like I said, or a space-age walker, whatever. I mean, whatever it is, it was fun to play with Gobots. Gobot's that big. This thing's huge, which makes sense. It's not like getting one of the combiners from the Transformers and it turning into something that it's not. Because, I mean, you had Optimus Prime, who's yay big, and then you have Shockwave this big, and then you have Devastator, who's yay big. You know, I love scale, and that's why I love newer toys. I'm starting to get in with the help of several friends via Twitter to get into the Masterpiece Transformers. Yeah, I'm jumping off that cliff big time. But for this thing to get back into it for if it's worth it. I've looked on eBay. About the average price that I see this thing going for is about $15. If you pay more than $15, I think you're overpaying for it. Now that is loose and not in a sealed box and without a bad box. I mean, to me, the box that I have, I don't consider it coming with a box because it's a shit box, to be honest with you. The collectability of this thing, unfortunately, Gobots aren't very, very collectible. You can still get them fairly cheap. You can get a lot of them, actually, that are cheap. And I'm not talking about, like, I mean, you can get dollar Gobots still to this day. The ones that only cost the most are the majority of the main figures. The Cycle, Leader 1, Turbo, Scooter, Crasher, Coptor, etc. I mean, you get Tankor and Fightor and Jeeper Creeper and so on and so forth for very cheap. I mean, for $300, you could probably buy the whole collection, which, granted, $300 is a lot of money, but to get a whole collection, not so much. Command Center for hard to find. Again, you can't go into a shop and buy these. However, where I'm from, we have the flea markets, we have the yard sales, and we have toy malls and whatnot. And to me, these things, you can find them. They're not, out of a scale of a 10, I say they're about a 5 on hard to find, because you can come across them. Now, they may not be 100% complete, which this one isn't. But you know what, if you get the shell and you have it like this, because essentially you're either going to display it like this or with the feet down, because if you end up displaying it when I open this portion of it up here, it kind of loses a lot of its luster, if you will. So hard to find, I give it a 5. Quality of the toy. The quality of the toy is cool. I mean, they didn't have to put these little rollers here. I mean, it's cool. There's rollies and whatnot. There's legs. And again, you can turn the head like so, and then open this portion up, which mine inside's going to look a little wonky, but and then it's a nice little playset the way it is. Got an elevator. Nope. Well, you know what I mean. It's hard to do one-handed, I promise you, boys and girls. And look, I broke it. Oh, Christ. You okay? You all right there? Say it's okay. If you're an 80s toy, you're easy to fix. And you're a damn Gobot. But what happens is that they have this elevator that's down here that would come up and go and take it to each little section. And there are cool little, like, screenshots, if you will. I don't like the base mode the way it is. I think it's generic, and I think it loses a lot of its luster. Me personally, I like it just like this. I think this is where the toy is at. I think this is where it's good. So the quality of the toy, I give it about a 6 out of 10. I don't think it's not one of the best in the world, but for Gobots' sakes, it is one of the better ones. eBay prices, like I said, I think it's probably, you may pay a little bit more. It may go up to about $20 on eBay, but you're going to have to pay that shipping and handling. And I know everybody doesn't have the cool shops that are around where I am and everything else, and I'm sorry for that, but to ship this bad puppy is going to cost you another $15 or $20. So, I mean, if you get into it, I mean, you're almost $30-40 if you have to have it shipped to you. Now, is the toy worth it? Right now, no, it is not. The toy isn't worth it because Gobots are dead. I mean, and they've been dead since the 80s. They've had a little surgence every now and again, but they're just not that much. It's not that big of a surgence to where it makes this something that everybody needs to go out and go get. And the bad thing about it is that if you put this on a shelf, you can put 40 Gobots along the side up in here and everything else onto this to where this takes up. Now, granted, this is one of the main characters, and even if you call it a character, but it takes up a lot of shelf room. So for me, the toy is not worth it, just because of the space it takes and the playability that you get. And granted, if you're a kid playing with GoBots, yes, but there are a whole lot more toys out there that are cooler that you can have take up the real estate that this thing would be that you're going to spend the money for. So I am Wheelbreaker41, and this is the second one, I guess, of Is It Worth It or Not? And we did the Gobots Guardian Command Center Fortress or Space Shuttle. Bye, kiddos.